the ego loves victim mentality. I still look in the mirror, I'm like, fuck, fat kid, still there. The universe never gives you anything you can't control and will always give you what you deserve. Just let it play out. Stop trying to control. Why do you feel like shit? You accept the moment, there's no resistance, it just is. We're born into this world as love, like just straight consciousness. Life is beautiful, and it was always beautiful. Peace isn't in some futuristic moment. The peace isn't in a past moment. Peace only lies in the present. Every day I put my feet on the ground, I just look up and I just take a big deep breath, and I'm like, I'm so fucking grateful to be here.
I just want to start this episode with a message of gratitude for everyone who tunes in each and every week. Thank you. I feel like I owe you a massive thank you for all your love and all your support. You've allowed me to grow and connect with so many amazing people, have so many amazing conversations, which I'm then able to go and share with you. So thank you for allowing me to do this and supporting what I'm doing. Can I ask you a favor though? And I can't tell you how much this can change the course of the podcast, the guests that I get on, everything that happens around here, just by doing one simple thing. And that simple thing is pressing the subscribe button. It honestly helps so much in allowing the podcast and the guests to just get bigger and better. And I sit here and I think about the next 12 months and what that's going to look like. And a lot of that is going to be fueled off the back of your love, your support for the podcast and everything that's happening here. So from my heart, thank you. Let's keep doing it. And I can't wait to see what the next 12 months holds for this show and for us as a community. Enjoy the episode. Matt, I've got this photo here. How old are you?
Year 4, maybe.
Take me back to that little boy. What do I need to know about that version of Matt to better understand the man that's sitting here today?
Straight in, are we? It was just a version of me that was, riddled with insecurities and just didn't know any different. Would mask the identity and just try and be funny and try and act out, I guess. But yeah, that little boy is still inside of me to this day. I nourish him and take care of him, and I'm there for him now. So yeah, that was a version of me when I was little, chubby little fat boy. And now rather than neglecting him and what happened with him, it's shaped me to who I am today. So yeah.
Who are you today?
We're going straight deep.
We are. I don't do small talk.
Yeah.
I dive in.
Confident, driven, motivated, loving father. Just dance to the beat of my own drum, I guess, without sounding cocky or anything. I know who I am and know what I deliver in this lifetime. And it's enjoyable. All the lessons that I learned back then pay dividends now, that's for sure.
I feel a lot of the times we have this childhood traumas, our insecurities from when we were growing up, and we try to push that aside and we try to forget about that version of us. Yet it always raises its head at some point in our life, and we have to deal with it. How did you go about dealing with it? And you mentioned you now nourish that version of you. What's that journey been like?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been my journey, I guess. It's been what was supposed to happen to learn the lessons of what I was like growing up. And it just sort of took shape just growing up as to everything that it was with that. You have to go there. You can't suppress that type of stuff, it just makes life difficult and it makes it uncomfortable. It'll always raise its head, but when you can see it for what it is, learn the lessons within it, I wouldn't have it any other way, basically. With everything the way life taught me, it made me feel important to know how training is important, nutrition, put me in the position to open multiple gyms. If I wasn't that version, who would I be today? So that is a lesson in itself of knowing that everything you've been through, you're supposed to go through. Whether or not you learn the lessons is depending on how far you grow in your life, whether you want to stick with that lesson. You know, I know there's been points where I've stuck to certain things and I haven't moved through them. But that was one that was dug deep, that's for sure. And yeah, when I look at that photo now, I'm proud of the person I am today because of that. And also I know that it was all supposed to be that way.
It's a great example of our pain points throughout our life usually turn into our passions. Now, you're involved in G3 fitness, and fitness is a massive part of your life now. And I'm assuming that it stemmed from being that chubby little kid and having all those insecurities, that you went down the path of, I can only get my fitness on track, my health on track, because when I was younger, I wasn't that healthy, I wasn't that fit, I wasn't confident in myself, and fitness has allowed me to grow and evolve into the version that I am today.
Yeah, 100%. It was it was funny just back at school. Yeah, I look back now and I'm like, oh, like I didn't realize what was happening back then. You're a kid, you don't know no different. So I just rolled with the punches, but then started obviously playing football, and then that sort of helped, and then sort of had a bit of a growth spurt. And then I think school started getting a bit of confidence and hanging around like good crowds, and and then it sort of shifted, and then that's when it sort of ended up playing football and then going into the PT stuff as well. So most definitely shape shifted everything, and now I appreciate all the I appreciate the journey in itself, because I don't think I'd be as passionate or as focused on making sure my body stays healthy. I'm training because it's a given for me now. Maybe I still would have liked training if it wasn't for that. Who knows? But I know it's like there's a bit of obviously the emotional attachment to that is what keeps it so strong in today, which does keep me sharp. It keeps me sharp. It keeps me focused. Like your body's a temple. You got to nourish it. You got to be smart with it. Keeps me sharp in the gym, keeps me sharp at home. It's important. Yeah, it's really important.
What's that dark side for you when it came to body image and your weight? I seen something that you decided to compete in bodybuilding because you had all these insecurities, so you thought stepping on stage and getting your body in that shape that it was in was going to change something within you. Did it?
It helped for a little bit. And I think the bodybuilding and stuff was partly because I have a passion for that stuff. Obviously, I found fitness and I was like, fuck, I want to push it. And then there was just a little part of me that it was like, fuck you to everyone. You know what I mean? So there was a little part of that, and I can look back and see that now. Maybe during it, I couldn't see it, but it was like, a bit of it was look at me now, which, we're human. It's not a bad thing. But a big part of it was just knowing that I could push myself to that limit and to see what my body's capable of going from, being a chubby kid with all those insecurities to then being able to compete at, I think I got down to like 5% body fat, 6% body fat. So it showed how far I could push it. But in there was wrapped a little bit with the whole look at me now sort of thing. It was a layer of armor. But with that being said, it paid dividends into everything else. Bodybuilding itself, I did well competing. Personal training, you don't want a fat personal trainer. So it's sort of, you practice what you preach, I guess. So that in itself helped me to, would help business. It helped my confidence, all that type of stuff. But there was a little part wrapped in that was like, fuck you. Yeah. So I can see that now. But now I don't care. I'm like 85 kilos. I still train every day, but there's no attachment. If I need a day off, I'll have a day off. Where before it was like, if I have a day off, it was the end of the world. So I think that attachment's gone now. So it's healthy. So yeah, that's been a big journey for me in itself, and I've liked to enjoy that I've developed in that sense and taken it as it is. I've gone through the emotional roller coaster with the attachment of training now. As long as I'm doing cardio and eating healthy, they're the main things. But when it comes to training, if I need a day off, I'll have it. Before it was sort of a bit attachment to having to train every single day and stuff like that. So
sometimes you need those fuck you motivations to actually allow you to take action. Those pain points can really drive you, because if you don't have that pain, sometimes you bear with what's happening in your life. Like you're comfortable, but you're not really comfortable, if that makes sense. And you're able to put up with how you're living. But if you have that pain, if you have that, fuck you, like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like for you, yes, you went down the path of bodybuilding and it may not have been entirely healthy, but now off the back of that, you've been able to better understand yourself, understand your body, what it's capable of, and building a healthy relationship with health and fitness to the point where you can now go on and share that with your clients. And it's such a beautiful journey for people to go on. And for me, my dark side when it came to health and fitness was totally opposite to yours. So I've naturally been a really skinny kid, and I was picked on for being skinny. And playing rugby league growing up, I was like, got told all the time, oh, you're too small, you need to put on more weight, eat more food, all that stuff. And I was like, I'm eating all this food, I can't gain weight.
Should have hit me up, I would have given you some.
It got to the point, bro, that I actually went down the path of steroids. I was 16 and I somehow ended up on some black market website. And there's a funny story to it that I used Bitcoin to actually buy it. Now imagine if I kept Bitcoin back then, how rich would I be, right?
Yeah.
But I used it to buy gear, and I took it. I gained so much weight. I blew up though.
Yeah.
I think the heaviest I got was 87, 88, close to 90. Yeah. I'm now 74. Yeah. So, but a lot of it was all water weight. Yeah. And I was just puffy. Yeah. And a cuddly bear. Girls used to call me the cuddly bear. And I remember just being on the footy field, and I was like, yeah, I'm so strong, but I couldn't last 80 minutes. My fitness was gone, and I didn't feel, there was a part of me that felt confident, but down deep, I didn't feel confident at all because I wasn't fit. I didn't really like the look of myself in the mirror. Like, I was puffy. There was muscle, but it wasn't true muscle. Yeah. And I did that because I was like, oh, I want to make all these rep teams. I didn't even make the rep teams. And I was like, I'm taking all this stuff, but it's not really benefiting me. And I got off it, and I haven't really shared this before, but if you probably know much about getting off gear, you need like, was it? Yeah, all that stuff. I didn't take it. So I got, what's the stuff in the breast tissue? Gyno. So I got gyno in one of my pecs, which then created an insecurity for me there. Yeah. Lucky it wasn't extremely bad, but it's something that I noticed. Yeah. And I was like, what was the whole point of all this? And I just dropped it completely, and I was like really focusing on eating healthy, training, and I didn't gain as much weight as I would like, but I got to the fittest point in my life where I was like the fittest in the team. And even now, like I've gone and run marathons and really like tough races with 1,000-meter elevation and stuff like that. Natural. Yeah. And it just goes to show, like, you do not need these external things, external modalities, both healthy and non-healthy. You can do a lot of things naturally, and you can build confidence naturally. You don't get caught up in, for you, people picking on you for being chubby. For me, people picking on me for being skinny. How many kids go through that? It's like you can never win, so just focus on being the best version of you and being healthy how you see healthy. Yeah. So important. 100%. Even the attachment too, because obviously, I mucked around in some steroids as well. And the attachment to that was like, that was a bit of an attachment. It was like I needed it. And I told myself otherwise, but then it was like, you need it. And then it was like, got to the point where I was like, I'm done with it. I'd muck around with a little bit here and there. And obviously when I competed naturally to start with. Then it was like time to go with the big boys, to do what you got to do. And just, insides were just rotten, like felt rotten. Like you felt yuck, pimples, acne. Yeah, it's not healthy. And that's when same thing, just when I'm done and just jumped off completely, which was good.
An attachment that I would subconsciously would tell myself otherwise, but it was really an attachment in itself of like, what do you keep having to take it. So feeling natural is most definitely, the way to go. I think, and I'm not against that type of stuff. I'm just, if you are taking that type of stuff, just have a look at the attachment to it. If it's an attachment, if it's a need, then that's an issue in itself, because underneath that need is something that you should look into. But it has its benefits in some senses for some people if they're smart with it. If you're competing or you're older, you need a bit of testosterone, even if you have imbalances, some stuff there doesn't hurt, because you can get it now through doctors and stuff like that, a bit of TRT. So it's just the attachment to it. And I think that's the attachment to anything, like something that you're doing. If you feel a need as to why you need it, you ask yourself the reasons why. I think sometimes you get a lot of clarity and a lot of answers within that.
Definitely agree. The period of going from bodybuilding, you mentioned having attachments to steroids and then getting off. I was doing some research, reading through stuff, that you were in a part of your life where, you thought life was good. You had the house, the car, the business, all that kind of stuff. But inside, you still felt like there was something more. There was that little area of unfulfillment, and you needed to go explore that. And you talk about going on the path. Talk to me about that, because there's so many people, so many men out there that are going through life, and they may have a good job, good pay, the family, the white picket fence, all that stuff. But inside, they're so unfulfilled, they're so unhappy, because they just feel like there's so much more out there, yet they don't know what, and they don't know how to actually find it or explore that area of themselves. So how did you go about going on the path that you're on now?
The first thing was, it wasn't out there, it was in there. Yeah. So, I had to go within. There was a part of me that, had to see, even being the chubby kid, going on the path to understand why everything I went through, to see the lessons and the programming as to the way I was growing up, the way my parents parented me, school, because we're born into this world as love, like just straight consciousness. And then as we grow, we get programmed. We get programmed through school, and we build this identity, and we attach ourselves to an identity of what we think we should look like to the world. Now that identity is, a character that we play in this world. And it's not until you go within to see what is it that's holding you back from the infinite possibilities this world gives us. That's what it was. Life was good, missus, kids, business is good, everything. And then it was just like I needed to find more self-love and worth within myself, which didn't change anything externally. It just amplified what I actually did have. We all get caught up in these thoughts of like, when I get that, that's when if I want the thing, I'll get the thing. Where it's like, if it's not that, it's going to be the next thing. You want the next iPhone, the next whatever people are attached to. So now that just taught me to detach from everything, in the sense of like, it is, if it isn't, it isn't. It's okay. So that's what I did. I went within, had a spiritual awakening. I just was walking one day and just looked around and was like, everything, all these issues I thought I had in my life, all this unfulfillment, was self-inflicted. So as you point the finger at one person, there's three pointing back at you. Everyone loves to fall into victim mentality of like, it was my parents, it was school, it was my job, it's my boss, it's my partner. It's like, no, it's you. And people don't want to admit that, but I'll be the first to admit that. We all love to fall into victim mentality. The ego loves victim mentality. So just went within, realized I was having, something was shifting in my body. And then it was during COVID. And then, just had an awakening, literally just walking. I was reading a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and it just smacked me in the face. And then I was just like, something's going on, and literally jumped on Google and was typing in all the feelings I was having. And then just the universe does its thing. I aligned with a coach from New Zealand. And then fast track a year. I went to the jungle, did ayahuasca in the jungle. Started my own life coaching stuff and podcasts. And yes, ever since I jumped on the journey of the self-development, but going deep within, it just, life is beautiful. And it was always beautiful, but it was just my perception of it. I thought there was more. This isn't it. There's more. And that's where people get caught up in the illusion of the matrix of this world, that it's nothing externally that's going to make you happy. It's your perception of it is your perception based off what is in your life already, but also what is within. If you've got all these insecurities, you're going to suppress them and not face them. You're still going to be left with unfulfillment, So all my lessons I've been through, the way, I was growing up, school, there's acceptance wrapped around all of it now. And it just brings me back to the present moment. I don't ever travel in the past of thinking, why this, why not that? I don't ever travel into the future of like, I hope this, I hope that. That's just the mind taking you out of the present moment. And I think that's where a lot of people are stuck in the mind of thinking that there's more. If things were different from the past, then I would be somewhere. It's like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So I just literally am where my feet are. I let my mind travel into the future and past when it wants, but I just treat it like a little bit of a tool. It's like a toolbox now. We both needed to use our minds to know what time we're going to meet today. And then it's like, well, where am I? I had maybe 2 thoughts about this podcast at the start. You messaged in yesterday, and straight away I just brought myself back to the present. Like, well, that's there. What will come out there was supposed to come out there. I'll come back to here. So I'm forever bringing myself back to the present.
I'm curious, what were those 2 thoughts that you had?
What are we going to talk about? And am I going to be rushed? Because I had a busy morning.
Yeah.
Because I had work and stuff like that. So those were the 2 thoughts. And that was it. And it was like, well, what else are you going to, like, that's where the mind loves to create an assumption or whatever. You're just burning energy, literally burning energy, trying to preempt or anticipate or create a future reality, which is all an illusion in itself.
You make it sound very easy just to be present, and in reality it is easy, but for someone that's listening and they're always stuck in thought patterns of past, future, what's going to happen today, tomorrow, how can they just be present in this moment?
Yeah, it's fucking hard work. Like, I'll be the first to say that. I'm not sitting here saying it's I might have made it sound easy, but I think the reason why it becomes out so effortlessly for me to talk about it is because that's all I focus on. It's like a tool. You go to the gym, you can't expect muscle in a week. So the more I develop in this space, the more I can be strong and just bring myself back. But when you discover who you are is when you can learn to be present. It's true. It's you don't know who you are, then you don't know how to be present because you think you are something else. So your mind will take you elsewhere. So it's the confidence of knowing who I am and the way I've been brought up and the acceptance of this moment is what brings me back to the present. But there's tools as well. Like, I notice when my mind drifts off, I come back to the facial structure, what's in front of me, your face, your lips, your eyes, I bring myself back. And I let the thoughts just be thoughts. Like, they're just going to go, it's sort of like my thoughts just play around in the background. Like, oh, look at that. I'll be honest, I was in a thought straight away of how we dropped straight into that. And I was like, fuck, we've just gone right there. You better fucking be present right now. Like, that was a curveball. Yeah. And that's the thing. It was just a thought. But straight away, when you pull that photo up and then ask me that question, I didn't even know we started. And I was like, fuck, okay. We've gone.
Good you off guard, eh?
Yeah. But like, that's what I mean. That was just a thought. Now, my ego could have ran with that and be like, let's hurry this shit up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like a thought. I didn't have that thought, but the thought of like, fuck, we've really just gone there. Sweet. That's acceptance of the moment. You accept the moment, there's no resistance. It just is, so that's a massive thing. As moments arise, you can't predict or preempt what the future moment's going to hold. Every moment's going to hold variables. I could drive home after this moment and be in my car. 4 things could happen. A, I could get home. B, I could get a flat tire. C, I could have a car crash. D, my car doesn't start. Now, I hope I have A. B, okay, sweet, I can accept that. D, I definitely don't want that. And C, I definitely don't want that. Where it's like, who am I to say? It's like me telling you that it's not going to rain tonight.
Yeah.
I don't have control of it. I sort of know what I want, but I'm accepting of, you got to accept all the variables that come with every moment, and that's why I hand it over now. I'm forever handing it over to the universe. The universe controls my shit. The universe can have that. I'll just sit in the passenger seat and just look around like as a passenger does and just, oh, you're cool, look at the trees. Oh, we're going here today. Oh, yeah, no worries. The universe is my guy who takes care of the rest of it.
I love that because when I spoke on Zaab's podcast, I mentioned that for me, anxiety has played a big part in my life. So if I go into a new situation, my mind's gone 100 miles an hour of what could happen, all these different scenarios, the exit, the location, the directions, who's going to be there, what are we going to speak about? And I'd get so caught up in that it would then create so much more anxiety within myself that when I turned up, I was a mess. I couldn't actually process anything that was happening.
Is this with you on Zaab?
So yes, in that podcast too, but other times, like for me growing up, it's a lot better now, Yeah. But for me growing up, when I was very anxious, I would, go into every situation trying to think of every possible outcome. And Zal's put it so great. They're like, you could think about every outcome, but there's always going to be something else that could pop up. So like it's a never ending cycle, and you just have to learn to let it be what it's going to be, because you can't predict what the future's going to hold. You can think about it all you want, but 99.9% of the time, it's not going to happen like that. So just be present in the moment, drop into this space, and have the self-awareness to pick up when you are getting caught up in your thoughts and be like, okay, cool, come back to the present moment now. And it is easier said than done, but just by having these conversations, it puts that at the front of your mind of, fuck, all right, when I get caught up in my thoughts, come back to being present, picking up on that, being self-aware around it all. Self-awareness is so important to better understanding yourself. And as you mentioned before, you have to learn about yourself and learn who you are to be able to, turn up as that best version of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. We're all characters in a game. We've got this facade of like what we look like, but underneath all of us is just pure consciousness. So, my analogy of what I say is I just, when you talk about that stuff, anxiousness and stuff like that, it's, I used to feed into that a little bit, and it was, just trying to preempt a future moment where it's like the universe is like, really? Well, of course you're going to have anxiety because you're trying to control it again. You're trying to get in the driver's seat. The universe will always let you jump in the driver's seat to learn the lesson. And it depends on how far you want to drive that car and feel as though that you have control of how everything's going to be. And it's not until you surrender and just trust to get back into the passenger seat. The universe is like, are you done? Do you want to jump back in the passenger seat, or do you want to keep trying to drive the car? And what I mean by that is by driving the car is trying to predict and preempt and work it out. And it's like, you don't have control. We don't have control if a bomb's going to hit this fucking this mad studio in the next 5 seconds. Like it just is, and that's where, everyone wants to accept all these beautiful moments, but no one wants to accept the shit. It's like, how do you know that between the good if you don't have the bad? How do you know between the up if you don't have the down?
It's the pendulum.
100%, yin yang, up, down. But back to what you were touching on, it's any anxious thought is trying to preempt the future moment. But what my sort of analogy in that sense is with presence is, we've got an identity, and we are who we are. We're human, it is what it is. We have certain traits. We like certain things about ourselves. We don't. Like, we're human. So I think we're not gurus. That's, one thing I thought, if I just kept doing this stuff, I'm going to end up on this magical hill and life's going to be sweet. It's like, no, the only thing that happens for me now is when I get a lesson, it hits me tenfold. It's not like one of these little, oh, look at that. It's like smacks me because I allow all doors to sort of flow open, all the stuff that, yep, sweet. But then when something hits me that I'm not expecting, that's when I'm like, fuck. So what I know now is, in sort of my analogy on this, and I said it today with one of my coaching calls, was your heart is your home, and you've just got to keep bringing yourself home. Ram Dass talks about it. He says we're all here to walk each other home. We're all here to bring each other one step closer to like this moment. So, but as humans, we like to go gallivanting. We're going to go for a little bit of a walk. We're going to see what's out there. Because, in the future, if we just go for a walk, we know better, and the universe will be like, all right, when you're done, I'll see you when you get home, So you go out, you go for your little walk, you go try and change the world or, blah, 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 whatever it is. And then you learn the lesson, but then you come back home. Now, it would be boring. And what would we be sitting here talking about if we just all lived here? What would we be talking about? How beautiful life is, like rainbows and fairies. It's like, it's boring then. So we're always going to travel out. We're always going to learn our lessons and then come back. But it's coming back home, coming back to presence. This is the only peace. This is the only place where peace lies, is in this present moment. Peace isn't in some futuristic moment. The peace isn't in a past moment. Peace only lies in the present. When you're in flow state is because you're just present. It's like you don't think about anything. You're just there. You're in the moment, whatever's going on, like, spending time with your daughter, doing a podcast, whatever you're doing, just be there. The two greatest, Ram Dass and Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle's book's called The Power of Now. Ram Dass is Be Here Now. What are they both saying? Now. The now moment is where it's at, So you can think about what you want and that's fine. Use your mind as a tool. Travel out. Think about what you want and manifest and but don't attach yourself to that. And don't be caught up in the I'll be happy when this. It's all an illusion. You can be happy now. Whatever happens in the future, you can be happy. Or you accept moments that are shit. We all try and hide away from the shit moments. Oh, fuck, I don't want that moment. Or it's like, well, that was a moment that's been given. Be present with it. You'll get through it quicker. Okay, this is a shit moment. Definitely didn't pick this one. But this is what's been provided. How about I just let the cards fall? Let it all play out. Yeah, but you don't know what happened. They said this and this is going to happen. If I don't do this, then this is going to... Be here. Let the cards fall. How many times, and this is going to be a question, how many times has something happened and you've gone, oh fuck, I've got to control, resist, scratch, claw, fight this, and then it all plays out, and then you look back and you're like, oh fuck, what is that?
Yep. Plenty of times you get so worked up, so overwhelmed about what could happen or what is going to happen, and then once it does happen, you're just like, oh, why the hell did I work myself up so much for that? Like, what was the point? And that's something that I'm still dealing with to this day, is learning just to let things be, not try and control every situation. And you mentioned, you wanted to be in the driver's seat, but sometimes you need to be in the passenger seat. What should we control in our lives? Or what can we control in our lives?
Your breath. That's it. Your breath. That's when shit happens. And I'm like when you showed me that photo, I was like, all right, this is the moment. Sweet. Like, step into this. It literally, where your breath is where it's at. It's like, that's the only thing that you can control. Where your feet are. Where are you? In this moment right now, this present moment, there's no problems. Yeah? There's no problems. But if I ask you, tell me some problems that's going on, where are we going to travel?
Either and everywhere.
Yeah, future or past, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a problem because, this has got to be like this because in 2 weeks from now, I've got this thing. Okay, cool. It's not here, so that's there. Yeah, but the problem I've got is 2 weeks ago, this happened, so I'm still dealing with that. It's like, yeah, but what about now? No problem. There isn't any problems in the now. When shit does happen, it just happens. Peter Crone, what happened and couldn't happen any other way because it didn't. It didn't happen that way. Every single thing we've ever been through happened the exact way it was supposed to. Because if it was supposed to be different, it would be different. But the mind likes to think otherwise. Yeah, but you don't understand. I know in my head that it should be different. Yeah, because your ego is playing games. The mind hates the present moment. The mind does not like this right now.
Why is that?
Because of the ego. The mind cannot come in between this. The thoughts cannot come in. If you're being truly present, your thoughts will just be thoughts because it's all an illusion. You stay present with people in every conversation. You look them in the eyes, you sit, you be there. You'll notice there'll be either a big gap between thoughts or the thoughts that do come will have a bit of a distance. So it's either my thoughts at the moment are a bit like, if I have a thought, which I haven't this whole time, except that first thought, they're either in the distance, so I can see them as thoughts, or there's a long gap between them, and it's very easy to hold presence when you're with people. If you stick off your phones and be here, but it's when I get in the car, when I'm by myself, that's when it gets testing. That's when thoughts arise. Oh, fuck. They just start. You wake up in the morning. You got to remember this. You didn't do that yesterday. What happened with that person? Blah, blah, blah. Like, are you picking all these thoughts or are they just coming through? You don't have a choice as to what your thoughts are. Have you ever had a thought about something that happened 10 years ago? Mm-hmm. How'd that happen? How'd that thought just come through?
Just happen.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it'll always do. So the whole think positive, just be happy. No, when you're shit, you're shit. Life's fucking shit sometimes. Accept it for what it is. It just is shit. It's just a moment. We've got to experience all this stuff. And it's just an experience and a process that we go through. So what I try and do is when I wake up in the morning, like I could tell you what my thoughts were this morning because I am the observer of my thoughts. I'm not my thoughts. So when my thoughts arise, I watch them come through. I don't be in the character and play out my thoughts.
And you process like what's good and what's bad, or?
Well, it just is. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever, I could have all shit thoughts in the morning or all good thoughts. Mm-hmm. If I feed them, that's what they say, thoughts are thoughts, but you are the one that breathes air into those thoughts. Okay. But as you go on the journey of discovering who you are, you start to become aware of the distance between your thoughts because you're not your thoughts. Does that make sense? So meaning that some people don't know who they are, so they automatically think they're this. It's like, what's here? Just a loving soul that just wants to be present. But we get caught up in the game of thinking that we are something, and that's where the game starts. You wake up in the morning, all these thoughts come in. I have random fucking thoughts I was talking about on my podcast of like, imagine just jumping out like on the second floor of the plaza and just like imagine just like, like weird as shit. I'm like, where the fuck? That was not me, but none of it's me, but I still, as I said, I'm human. So I still get caught up in thoughts, I still feed them. But the difference now is rather than holding onto a thought for 3 weeks, it turns into 3 minutes or 3 hours or whatever. So that's the difference.
Okay. What kind of came to mind is if we're reflecting on our life or our day and we're journaling and stuff like that, that's thoughts, right? So should we be processing them or just letting them be like, because from what I'm kind of understanding is like you're letting thoughts come, but you're just letting them come and go. You're not, I don't know if you're processing them or not, but like, some people have thoughts that they need to process to better understand like the feelings that they're feeling. So should we be processing them or just living in the now as you've been discussing?
There's always going to be things in the past that you have to process.
Yeah.
Like I'm forever still, I thought I was going to get to this place and it's going to be all sweet, but it's not. I'm still, that's why journaling is such a beautiful thing because you can write down your thoughts, see what they're bringing up. Are they bringing up insecurities? Are they bringing up judgment? Are they bringing up whatever they're bringing up? So it's fine to journal and, meditate and do all these things. Like, we only know what we've been through. Yep. That's it. We only know from past experiences. That's what we're sitting here talking about. It's just when it comes to your thoughts, you just need to really be mindful of what ones you feed.
Okay.
You can't control them. That's what I was saying before, we're thinking positive and this and that. It's fine to think positive, but when shit, it's shit.
Yep.
Like, the quicker you're going to get through it is by literally saying, this is a fucking shit moment.
Yeah. You can spray Glen 20 on shit, but it's still going to be shit. Right?
Exactly. It's like, but people don't want to. It's like, how you doing? Like, yeah, good. Sometimes you get that. Yeah, good. It's like, no, I'm shit actually. Well, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, wow. You've just gotten it out, So what I try and do is, bring myself back to the present, but things are going to still come up, and I'm human. So I'm still accepting all the thoughts that come through. It's just feeding them. Like if I wake up and I start thinking about how busy my day is going to be, I'm automatically putting myself in anxious thought. Yeah. And the difference between feelings and thoughts is if you're in a thought about that how busy the day is going to be in the morning, your body doesn't know whether it's actually in that moment or it's preempting the moment. So your body will be feeling anxious even though you're not even in that future moment, which is what you're anxious about. Your body doesn't know the difference. So when you feed your thoughts and you start to embody them, when you're in that moment of feeling anxious at the start of the day, of course you're going to feel anxious when that podcast arises or whatever. Where it's like, that's the time to be present and go, I've just got so many anxious thoughts going on right now, and I know it's because I'm not being present. It's because my mind is in the future trying to work something out. How about I just come back to now, feel what I'm feeling now, and when I move forward, I move forward. And it's just the way the mind works in regards to you embodying those thoughts. When you can just breathe and just sit and know that you're not there yet, then that's when you become present. But your mind doesn't know, and your body doesn't know if it's already there or not. When you get a bit of anxiety with something coming up in 2 weeks from now, and you're here, but in 2 weeks it's happening, and your thoughts are running wild.
I start sweating.
Your body, your body thinks it's actually there. Where that's the time to be present and go, I'm going to calm down right now because that's there. This is here. And how about I just be here now? And like I said, it's a practice. I'm still fucking getting shit wrong. I still always get stuff wrong, but I know how I can keep myself in a nice calming state. As I said, with an analogy with my heart, I'll go travel out for a little bit and go learn the lesson, but I know I'm always going to come back here. No matter what, sooner or later. Sometimes I'm stuck in the trenches. That's okay. It's shit. And I know it's shit, but there's a part of me that's accepting, knowing that that's the moment that's been given. I can't control that.
I love that. And it segues into a discussion I wanted to have with you. You just mentioned how our body doesn't know what's real and what's not and what's actually happening. Our mind controls that. And I think that goes into dreaming, when we're dreaming during the night and, we may kick or punch or something because we feel like it's happening in the dream, but we feel like it's actually happening. For you, when you dream in the morning, do you remember them and analyze them and kind of go into what maybe that may be trying to teach you? Because what I've kind of seen is that dreams are our subconscious trying to tell us something. Do you believe into that?
Depending on what dreams.
Okay.
Sometimes you have dreams about punching on with someone.
Yeah.
And then you wake up thinking that you're going to punch on with them.
Yeah.
The thing I'll touch on when it comes to dreams and stuff like that is same thing. When you embody that and you think it's real, you wake up in the morning, you question. Like your body doesn't know whether you actually went through that process or not. You wake up feeling hot and anxious, like you've gone into a fight or had a car crash or whatever. So that's sort of similar when it comes to thoughts. Your body doesn't know whether it's actually in that moment or not. That's why presence is so powerful. Like presence is like the key thing that I keep at the forefront of my head. Like as long as I'm just here now, everything else can just be what it is. Lighting, the cameras, the microphone, that's just all that. It's like a game. It's like, whether I feed into this and play the character where I'm sort of like step back from the character and just let everything be as it is, but when it comes to dreams, I'm not really, I know there's a spiritual side of things with dreams, that there's some answers within that, whether you have dreams that are trying to tell you something or whatever. I've just started remembering my dreams, to be honest. Part of me that, I don't know if it's because I was mucking around with the gear and stuff like that, I was just not dreaming, but I've just started to wake up and go, it's funny. But they're just random as.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're partying with someone in wherever and this person comes in, you haven't seen them for 5 years and you're in the car with this person and whatever. I don't really put much energy into it. You know, I just let them be, I guess. When it comes to dreams.
See, after I did the podcast was, I think it was a couple of nights after, I had this weird dream, right? And I would just connect with it so much. And I didn't really understand what it was when I woke up in the morning. And I didn't quite remember it all. But that morning I dropped into a meditation and then my mind just started ticking. The memory of that dream came back. And then I started analyzing it and stuff. And it came back to what we spoke about in the podcast a couple of nights before around, you know, I have these insecurities, and for me to be able to step out and to be who I truly want to be, I got to get out of my own way. And how I was woken up from that dream was like this dark shadow dog attacked me, and I just woke up. And what I realized was, well, what I think I realized is that dark shadow was that shadow side of me holding me back. And to put some context around it, so I was in this room and all these dogs, which were actually dogs that I've owned or have at the moment, ran out of the house and they were exploring, and then they all come running in, whimpering, crying, stuff like that, like really scared. And then the big shadow dog comes in and then attacks me. And what I seen was those dogs were my insecurities that were trying to get out, to try and to transmute into something, say better, but like trying to get over those insecurities and work through those insecurities. But that dark shadow dog was chasing them back inside and got in, like blocked the door and attacked me, if that kind of makes sense. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then there was another side of it where there was these guys and they were catching, like a big passion of mine is like snakes and reptiles and stuff, right? So they were catching all these snakes and putting them into boxes and stuff. And I caught them and I was like, why are you doing that? And I was opening the boxes to see what was in there. And some of the snakes were really beautiful and I liked them. Some of them I didn't. And I was like, well, maybe these boxes are like, all of them represent like my goals and my visions for the future. And I felt like I had to have so many goals, so many visions and what I wanted, yet only some of them are really, really, how can I say, serving me, or I feel like will serve me in the future. Yet I'm getting so caught up in trying to do so many different things at once that I'm kind of losing who I am and who I truly want to be. And there was this one box and it was empty, had nothing in it. And for me, a snake that I've always wanted is a green tree python. I feel like they're amazing and they didn't have that snake. So I was like, wow, maybe there's this massive, bigger goal out there, something bigger that I haven't yet come across yet that is out there, but I can't chase it. I just got to live in the moment and see where life takes me. And yeah, it was a weird fucking dream, but I woke up that morning and full analyzed it and I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting because it resonates with me. And I told my missus, she's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, yeah, this was my dream, but this is what happened. So I do, but I don't believe that dreams are trying to tell you something. And as you said, it's picking what dreams, like analyzing what dream is actually trying to tell you something and what dream is just stupid, like going to fight someone or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that was very interesting. That's why I wanted to bring it up with you. That's just to get your viewpoint on it.
Well, I think there's a difference between, I think, you woke up with a feeling. That's what the difference is. You woke up with a feeling that something was trying to tell you something. Yeah. Rather than trying to think about it and work it out of like, oh, I had a fight last night with somebody. There was a feeling that you woke up with that was so strong that overcome your thoughts to be able to put more energy into it. Now, a lot of things stand out with what you just said. It was like, get out of my own way. That is forever what you should try to be doing. That's what I mean about the passenger seat. Like, get out of your own way. Just sit. What's wrong with it now? Because sometimes we put out this energy of lack that it's like, well, when I get there, that's when I'll get the thing. You put that energy out of trying to think that there's something in the future that's going to make you feel a certain way. But what you're really doing is putting out that energy of lack, of like, what's wrong with the now? How about you just enjoy the now? Anything that, if we go back, 5 years, 6 years from now, it's like, did you think you were going to be sitting here? Yeah. Did you pick this?
No.
What happened? It just happened.
Life happened. This time last year, I was in a spare bedroom in my parents' house.
There you go. And that's what I mean. And that's the thing we've got to ask ourselves. How do we get here? So it just happened. That is what needs to be in the forefront of all our minds. When we get caught up in trying to attach, and you know what, like goals are beautiful, goals are fine, but it's like two things. Yeah, have goals and go for them and chase your dreams. That's beautiful. But be open to all the other side things that can come with it. The universe works in funny ways. You think you're on a certain way, and it's like Pac-Man. It'll take you like this way, and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm away from it. And then you end up somewhere else. It's like, oh, funny that. So have your dreams, have your goals. Be open to everything else that life can throw you. Sometimes the universe has bigger, different things planned for us. But also be mindful of your attachment to thinking that you know the way. That's what get out of my own way means. Like if I think I know in my rational mind of where I got to be to get the thing, because when I get there, then I'm going to be given this thing, which is already putting out the energy of like, what's wrong with now? Where it's like, if I can be my purest, strongest, healthiest version of myself in the now, well, from an energy perspective, if we are all energy, I'm just going to vibrate on that frequency and it's going to take me to different places. Obviously, I'm going to learn lessons along the way. So yeah, credit to what you're saying is like, yeah, it's, you've got future goals and maybe the universe has something bigger. But what if the universe is just putting you in the now and just enjoying the now? Like we've got to be mindful of that attachment because we all have this subconscious feeling of like where we think we should be. And it puts us in a state of lack, especially when you go on social media. Just when I get there.
And comparing yourself up.
Just when I get those 5,000 followers, or just when I make it's got to be 400 podcasts. Like when I get there, that's when I'm going to get the thing. Where it's like you're automatically taking credit away from the now. Like you just said, you didn't know a year ago you're a single bed in your parents.
Yeah, I was in my parents' spare bedroom.
There you go. That was a year ago. And like I said, you can't work out what the future holds, but accept the now and you'll be put in a better place. Like the universe never gives you anything you can't control and will always give you what you deserve. Right? So the universe will never give you anything you can't control. Start with that. So when shit happens and you jump in the driver's seat, like, I can't control this. It's too much. I've got to work it out. I'm the man. I've got to get it sorted because I'm in control. But I can't control it. It's too much. That's the prime example to sit down, get out of the driver's seat and just know and have trust. The universe has given it to you because you can control it. Everything that's been in your life, you're here now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You've controlled it. Like you haven't controlled it, but you've worked through it.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. When this future thing comes and we're like, yeah, but this is too big. It's like, just sit, breathe. Let the cards fall. You are capable enough of getting through this because the universe has given it to you. The universe will always give you what you deserve. This is what you deserve. But we think otherwise. Yeah, but we deserve more. We want more. It's like, what's wrong with you? You're already putting yourself in a state of lack. So that's why I always try and stay in between those two boundaries. Always be given what I deserve. So I show gratitude to the now, what I have, which always gives me more for some reason because of like the universe will give you more because you're deserving of more. Now I don't do it to get more. I genuinely am accepting of everything I have in my life. My mind will take me into the future though and tell me that I want more. And that's when I talk about thoughts. Oh, look at that. Look at you trying to get more. What's wrong with you now? And I'm like, oh, look at me trying to look at those thoughts that I'm attaching to, thinking that I've got to get the next thing. Come back to now. And then the other way, when I'm put in the trenches, I tell myself I can get through this because it's what's been given. And then sooner or later, the lesson comes with that So yeah, just staying in that middle part, that middle balance, it's yin and yang, we're going to feel shit, we're going to feel good. But when you know who you are, you can analyze those feelings that you have. I'm feeling so insecure right now, my feelings with this podcast, I feel like I've finally dropped in. At the start, I was insecure as fuck. The second you showed me that photo, I really had to gather. So it's going to be interesting to listen back.
You're like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Well, basically it was like, fuck, okay, half of me is like, I want to just wrap this up. And half of me is like, fuck, all right. Yeah, we're just going straight there. And yeah, that was the feeling, I felt, and then I felt a little bit of anxiousness come on, like, fuck, gather, like, be present. But then now I'm dropped in and it's all coming out, so you got to start to know what you actually do feel rather than just good. I just feel good. You might feel like we all try and hide. I feel like shit. It's okay. See it for what it is. Why do you feel like shit? Oh, well, this happened this morning. Yeah, okay. Well, why are you holding on to it still? Oh, I don't know. It just made me feel like shit. Okay, well, that's fine. But just what's it doing to you now? Nothing. 2 hours ago, but I'm just still holding on to it. Exactly right. You're holding on to it. How about you let go of it? Oh, there we go. That's how it works. We sometimes think it's everyone else. No one wants to take accountability of like, when you fall into victim mentality, it's like, you don't know what they did. You don't know how they made me feel. It's like, yeah, they did, but now it's your perception of it. How do you want to take that? Do you want to embody that? Do you want to hold that for weeks on end? Or how about you just take a big deep breath and just know that it's not personal. It's just they're going through some shit or whatever's going on.
I appreciate you for opening up and sharing what you did, even though I put you on the spot at the beginning. So
nah, you got me. It's all right. It was a test. It was a good one, actually. I felt like that.
I love that you overcome that little test. And we've had an amazing conversation. A quick word from our sponsor, One Stop Pod. If you're looking to start a podcast, but you're sitting on the fence because you don't know where to start, or maybe you even already have your own podcast and you want to take it to the next level, One Stop Pod can help you from our high quality podcast studio, post-production services, and even podcast mentoring to ensure that you have your foundations, structures, and systems in place to ensure that your podcast can grow and blossom. This is honestly something that I wish I had when I first started my podcast, because when I dived in, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no guidance, no information. I was just like, okay, what do I do? With One Stop Pod, we got everything for you. All you have to do is focus on having the conversations that you want to have. If you're interested in finding out more about our services and our packages, feel free to check us out on Instagram at onestoppod_. Let's get back to the podcast. I love that you mentioned, whatever happens to us, we can overcome. We can work through it. Like this last 12 months for me, becoming a dad, moving out of home for the first time, having bills, being an adult. Like back then when I would sit and think through, fuck, what has my life come to? Like it's so much change. Like, how am I going to be a dad? How am I going to move out of home? How am I going to pay my bills? Like all this stress that I put on myself. Yet I sit here today and yes, there's still challenges, but I'm like, fuck, if I can make it this far, like, and I can overcome what I've overcome, like I can achieve anything. I can overcome anything that comes my way. You just got to work through it and trust in the process, trust in the universe, as you say, that it's gonna keep you on track. And even if you go divert a bit, you're always going to come back to home, as you said. So yeah, I could resonate with that a lot. It's awesome.
It is. And the universe is, higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. Intuition's strong and intuition's real. Like you said, I didn't know how I was going to get through it all. Yeah, but you did. Like that's the formula. You're always going to move through it. You'll find a way. But it's whether you, like you touched on, get out of your own way. Like just let it play out. Stop trying to control. That's where I think a big part of our lives, we think we have control, of everything. Where it's like, good luck trying to control everything. Like I would love to meet the person that knows how to control everything. We have this subconscious attachment of like, if I just control everything and make everything fine, then everything will be fine. But how much energy does that cause? causes so much energy. You're just trying to box everything up. All right, that's good. Yep, that's good. That's good. That's good. This is shit, but I'll control it and fix it. It's like, hand it over. That's what I'm forever doing. I'm forever getting out of my own way. I'm forever just accepting the moment as it is, and I'm forever handing shit over. Big man upstairs can control that one. I don't want that. And I just allow it all, just the universe to take care of it. They can control that. I'll work. It'll come when it comes, whether it's with the gyms, family, relationships, even the kids. Like, it just hand it. It sounds like I'm trying to hand it over. No, be just like, you hand it over. Like, if they're cracking it, they're just cracking it. Like, stop trying to control that they're just kids. Like, maybe my two daughters are both sick today. All right. Rather than me trying to step in and obviously, care for them, be there for them, rather than control them in regards to like if they're going to crack it or not crack it or have a shit day or a good day, it's just hand it over. It's like, today will play out the exact way it's supposed to. But if you come from that place, you can accept all the variables that come with it. Today will be exactly how it's supposed to be because I'm not in control of it. So when I get home today, I'm not preempting, we've got to have a good day, or we've got to when you really try and box things in, that's energy. If I go home and try and do that, I'm burning energy, which is taking away presence. So if I just go home and be present, whatever it is, and that's okay too. And I think more trust in that, because I've been in big situations where I've gone into control, they're all parts of my life. And then the second that I just step aside, hand it over, let the universe control it. The universe controls it. Life is good. It's just, I just sit in this energy and just, bounce where you got to bounce and, still go through my shit, still, attached to things, still go through the trenches, but there's just a part of me that's accepting of it all, rather than trying to control it, preempt it, attach to it, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So many people do not make life decisions or change jobs or whatever the case may be because, as you said, they're trying to determine what's going to happen. What's the result going to be? For me, transitioning out of my full-time job into this, there's a lot of thoughts that come through my mind and I'm trying to control, what money, all that kind of stuff. I just have to learn to sit in it and just embrace it for what it is and trust that the universe is going to look after me. And even if I know it's going to be challenging, but I know when I look back in even 12 months' time, I'm going to be like, wow, I'm so glad that I made that decision and I stuck with it instead of continuing to live life getting in my own way, getting in the way of my own happiness. And I've mentioned previously that at the moment I feel like I'm in a tunnel. I can see the light over there and the life that I desire, but right now I'm in the tunnel and I have this darkness over here. I'm never going to reach the light if I keep letting that darkness get in my way, which then comes back to my dream in the dark shadow dog, however you want to look at it. But it's scary, it's hard, but it's necessary, 100% necessary. And I know a lot of people that are in the same position as myself, as you were. And as an example of, if you can do it, why can't anyone else?
100%. And even with what you just touched on, that light at the end of the tunnel is your intuition. That darkness is your thoughts.
Wow. Didn't look at it like that before.
That darkness are just thoughts. It's all an illusion. It's just things that come through. Light is your intuition. Keep moving with that. And you always got to ask yourself, and this is one of the things I ask myself when I do get caught up in thoughts. What is my intention? Is it pure? Yes. Are you trying to help people better themselves? Yes. Are you doing your best? Yes. Are you coming from the purest place possible? Yes. Well, then let us control the rest. You're moving through bad intention, that karma will come find you. You know what I mean? So always bring yourself back to what's my intention with, and I'll ask you, what is your intention? Intention with the podcast? Is your intention with all this stuff?
To have connection, to bring together people and let them know that there is more to life than the life that they may be living. To be in the present moment. And, I'm going on this journey as well as the guests that come on this journey as well. And you don't have to live in that victim mindset that you mentioned that everyone else has been. I've been in that victim mindset of blaming other people, having resent towards other people for the life that you're living now, and just showing that you need to take personal responsibility for your life. You only get one life. As you said, you could walk out here and your car may start, but even worse, you may drive down the street and get in a car accident and die. We don't know what is going to happen. So we have to live each day in the present, but like it's our last. Do you believe in that?
Yeah, and just accepting, wrapping every moment with purest intention and presence, fulfillment, when you're with your kid, like when I'm with the girls, daughters, I'm there. And I know when I'm not, because my ego's like, my intuition, is like, you're not being right now. And then sometimes I miss the mark. I go to bed, I'm like, I'm present tonight. Fuck, I'm going to make sure I'm present. I'm just there with them. But as what you just said, as I asked you that question, you say connection. We are all one. And that's what you feel when you get on these podcasts with people. This energy connection, this transfer. So your intentions are as pure as they come. We'll stay with that. Don't worry about where it's going to go. When am I going to get the thing? It's all, that's when you get caught up in that thoughts. And that's an emotional roller coaster in itself, because good thoughts, bad thoughts. Fuck, I was thinking so good this morning. Why am I thinking so shit? Where it's like that attachment where we attach to the good thoughts, but we try and neglect the bad thoughts. Where it's like you don't have control of the good ones. You just hold on to them with dear hope, which makes the bad ones even worse. But when you start to analyze them as thoughts, what they say is let your thoughts come and go as they please, but don't let them stay for tea. So it's like, you can let your thoughts run. Some of them are on loop. I've got these thoughts that are just on loop still. And yeah, they're still there. Fat kid, still there. I still look in the mirror, I'm like, fuck. But then I just see it. That's just a thought. Where am I now? And that's why these conversations are so beautiful, because drop into presence. We're not on our phones. We're not half-assed in this conversation. So that's why you leave these conversations, and so do I with our podcast that we do, is just like, fuck, that feels so good. It's because you've just come home, you've just stayed present, you've had a nice fucking gap from your thoughts. So when I go get in my car to leave this place, yeah, my thoughts will come back, but I've just had a nice break. And when they do come back, they're just a little bit lighter. And I'm like, I feel so good when I do these certain things. That's why meditation's so good. Sit in meditation, be present, let the thoughts come in. People are like, how do I meditate? It's present. Yeah, but I'm thinking too much. Yeah, that's okay. They're just thoughts. Let them just come and go. We can't block them. That's where people get thinking they can get out. Like, let them just be.
That's it. There's this meditation that I love, and it's like a guided one. And it says like, envision that you're laying under a tree and you're looking up at the clouds. Each cloud that goes past is just a thought. Just watch it past. Don't have to process it. Don't have to look into it. Don't have to feed it. Just let it pass. And it's so important just to lay there and let your thoughts go in, through.
When you discover who you are, that's why there's a gap. Like, that's why you can see them.
Yeah.
That's where I think people need to start, of going within, stepping on the path, start to initiate these types of conversations, start meditating, start slowing down, start being aware of people that bring you down, start being aware of moments in your life things that you're doing, which is bringing you down. Because once you start to see all that and you start to discover who you are, like, that's what peace is. Peace is just, it's in everyone. we're all born into this world as love. Like you got a little daughter.
Yeah.
Like when your daughter was born, she was born into this world as pure consciousness. That's it. So when you look at, even now, it's funny when we all look at babies, we act different. Yeah. When you see someone see a baby and their body shifts, it's because they see they see the baby in them. That's what they were born into this world as. So it's a little reminder when people look at babies and they get all giggly and like, people's like your parents and stuff, they're like, yes.
Especially my dad.
Exactly. But that's what I mean. But it's because that reminds him of what he was like when he was a baby. He was born into this world as that. He remembers that. But we get programmed as we're born into this world, school, parenting, lessons we've learned, bullies, teachers, and we build up all these thoughts, and then we create an identity. That's why it's like, strip it back, come back, come back, come back. And I don't think you ever fully get back, because this part of this journey would be boring. Like life would be boring if we had it all sorted. What would we be talking about today? So that's why, like my daughter, I said, well, how's school? She just looks at me. How's school? And she's like, just because she's being present. She's looking at me like, Dad, why are we talking about school here? And I'm like, oh, fuck. And that doesn't mean not to ask people how they're doing, but it's funny how kids are so present. Yeah. Kids aren't thinking about what happened in 2 weeks or what happened in 2 weeks, what happened 2 weeks ago. They give a fuck. They're present. And that's where we can learn so much from kids and our own kids. So when you sit there and they're just playing with a book or crawling around or whatever they're doing, they're just there. That's where it's so powerful. We can learn so much from our kids. Yeah.
Definitely agree. Like, I sit there with my daughter and she just amazes me. Like, just full of love, laughter, has no care in the world. She runs around, she falls down, straight back up. It's like, imagine if us adults could go back to tap into our baby self and not give a shit what people thought. We're going to fall down in life, get back up, but we don't. It's crazy.
And that's you just said probably one more thing to touch on with the thoughts. How many times do we get caught up in thoughts about other people's? Like 90% of our thoughts is based around someone else's thoughts about us. Where it's like your thoughts are an illusion, their thoughts are an illusion. So now even with me and my friend circle, they're like, hey bro, I'm in a thought about this. I'm like, well, that's fine, because that's like a mate the other day left the coffee shop early and he didn't say goodbye. Me and Zab were sitting there. The second we left, it was like, yeah. And straight away he's like, bro, I'm in thoughts about your guys' thoughts. I didn't say goodbye. I'm like, bro, get out of that, because I've not had one thought since. I still love you. Like, it's okay. But when you start to identify and talk about your thoughts, you start to notice you're not them. That's why no one talks about their thoughts. What are your thoughts today? I had a thought about podcasts. I was anxious about this. I was a bit sad about this thought. You start to talk about them, getting them out. So from an energy perspective, you're not sitting with them. So that's why I'm always mindful. If I have something go on, I say to the missus, hey, I'm caught up in a thought. She's like, what is it? Bang, bang, bang. Can you help me unpack it? Yeah, we'll just know that that's okay, because it's okay, this move, this, and bang, bang. Cool, you good? Yep. Or if I would have left the house, not speaking my truth, I would have left with that thought. But when I put my thoughts on the table, there's a separation automatically that comes with that. So by speaking your truth, rather than just saying good, it's like, what are your thoughts? Put them on the table. See them for what they are. They're not you. It's just a thought. But when you get them out, it becomes freeing. When no one wants, not no one, but people struggle to speak their truth because they're like, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to say? It's like, that's all an illusion in itself. Speaking your truth is massive. That's why when I knew I had to speak my truth, when I seen that thing at the start, I was like, this will come out later. For now, just come back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I mentioned to you off air that when it came to me in podcasting, I'd be sitting here and thinking about, the lights, cameras, everything. Is everything going well? What are you thinking? How do you feel that you look in the camera? Like, you're looking elsewhere? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Like, all these thoughts that would come into my mind.
Is that during a podcast?
During a podcast, that I wouldn't be fully present in the conversation, and I wouldn't be able to have the conversation that I would have liked to have. And I would jump off, like get out of this podcast and be like, fuck, hating on myself and putting myself down, because I knew that I'm a lot better than that. I knew I could have connected more deeper and had such a more deeper conversation, yet I was caught up in all the little shit that the guests wouldn't have cared, wouldn't have taken notice. And even if they did take notice, like, it is what it is. Like, I can't control your thoughts. So that's...
I can't even control my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm learning to deal with. And like, even today, I feel a lot more comfortable. I feel like I've been able to drop in a lot more and be present and not be so focused on all different things. So it's a process and something that I'm getting better at. But if I can do it, if you can do it, anyone can fucking do it, right?
Exactly. You just got to keep bringing yourself. Yeah, well, I'll ask you, what thoughts have you had?
For me, I was focused on the cameras. So I was like, oh, is everything working? Lights, the temperature, because I had the aircon on before. I was like, fuck, is it going to be too hot? Is it going to be too cold? And then as you're speaking, for me, I'm trying to process, what am I going to say next? But as I was processing what you were speaking about, being present, I was like, fuck, just be present. Whatever comes out, comes out. And I feel like this conversation has flowed, and what we've spoken about has really been deep and genuine, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, bro, same. Even that in itself of thinking about what you're going to say before they finish takes you out of presence. Because I do that too sometimes. I sit there and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, come back. It'll come out the way it's supposed to. That's what I mean about getting out of your own way. Stop trying to think about what you think should come out next. What will come out will come out. You know, I guarantee you've done podcasts where you listen back and you're like, who the fuck was that? It's the first time I've heard that. We're all channels. We're all channeled up to the universe. The universe will work through us wherever possible if you can learn to be present and get out of your own way. Intuition, that knowing, that beingness of who we are will come. You can stick in that presence, rather than thinking about what's to be said next. It'll just come out. And I've been in podcasts too, or even coaching clients, because I do life coaching now, where they'll say all these things and I just go to think about what I'm going to say and I drop back into presence, and then all this shit just comes out and they're like, fuck, I need to hear that. And I'm like, I don't even know what they said. Well, that's good. It's our authentic self. It's our highest self. It's the spirit, universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It's funny that sometimes when you can go through some shit, someone will just say the right thing at the right time. It's that. It's allowing the universe to work through us, through presence. This conversation was beautiful because it was exactly how it's supposed to be. So I love that, you can even today analyze your thoughts and see them for what they are. And I'll give you a bit of clarity about them. Everything's been working fine. If it didn't, that's okay. I'm not hot, I'm not cold, perfect. The lights are everything is exactly how it's supposed to be, And that's one thing of like, rather than trying to do everything, just be. And the doing comes naturally, rather than we think we're going to do everything. Just do it all the time. We're always doing shit. Where it's like, the doing becomes easier when you can come from the place of just being. And then the second that you have to do something, it's just do it, rather than scrambling. It's just like, just be. What's wrong with this? Nick. Oh, yep, cool. Oh, yeah, go to the shops. Oh, yeah, go get a drink. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Even sometimes I get the intuition like, don't park there. Why? I just got this feeling, don't park there. Go to the shops. Call that person. Called a mate yesterday, was in the trenches. He's like, bro, you called me at the fucking perfect time. I'm going through some shit. And I usually turn my phone on silent, and you just called me at the exact time I needed it. How'd you know? Just had this feeling. Call him. Rather than thinking that we have to do everything, we cloud ourselves up. We don't allow that free space of just, when your intuition's working and things are flowing, that's because you're in that flow state of just your intuition just doing what it's supposed to do. Do a podcast with that person, post that, do that, rather than should I, shouldn't I, have I, could I not, all those ifs and buts, just let them go. Come back here in this place. We'll give you all the answers.
So do you plan your days? Do you have to-do lists, any of that?
Yeah, I've got to-do lists. And this is the thing, this is what's so funny. I say all that stuff, but I'm that structured that people say that, they say like, you're so on the ball.
Yeah.
I've got people in my life, they're like, you are the ball, So I have structure, I have to-do lists, I plan everything like to the T, but accepting of what comes. So it's like, I write down what I think looks nice, but I'm open to the open calendar of whatever else comes, So that's where before it was like, if it wasn't my way, fuck. Like if things didn't go exactly how I planned them, holidays, I'd go on a holiday and start raining, end of the world. Like where now it's like, it just is, because that's where I was in the driver's seat. I thought I knew how it was supposed to be. Where now it's just, yep, this is my to-do list. If it goes that way, cool. If it doesn't, cool. So I do still structure, use the mind to set myself up. But then after I set myself up, I come back here. And then when the moment arises, yesterday was such a curveball day. I had 3 coaching clients in the Arvo, had a meeting booked in, had this, had that. And yesterday morning, if you asked me what my day looked like, I would have told you. But it didn't plan out like that. Coaching client had to move. My girls got sick, so I had to cancel on one. Had to move my meeting. Had to push something else back. But you asked me how I felt about it. Because it just is. Like, so that's as well. That's if I got caught up in something. Like, what do you mean? It's got to be at this time. It's like trying to control it again. You know what I mean? So it's funny that I'm sort of like a fucking, not a stress head, but like a very big to-do list person, which is good. It's good to pre-plan and have things planned out and sort of know what you're going through, but accept what's not on there, So if things flow the way that I wrote, cool. But if they don't, it's like last night I didn't embody no negative emotion based off how much of a curveball my day was. And that's where we get caught up. Curveball hits ya, fuck. Matt cancelled today. What the fuck? I was supposed to do this, it's like, yeah, well, the reason you feel resistance is because Nick doesn't have control. Matt got a flat tire on the way here. Well, what am I going to do? Do?
Yeah.
Maybe just be. Oh, it's all good. Life can be so much less stressful with this stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just flow state. So, but it's a practice and it's a way of life, you could call it. So, yeah.
It's a great balance to have, having that structure, but also just coming back to being, as you said, life's going to always throw curveballs. So we just have to learn to pivot and to overcome and work through it. You have to move meetings and stuff like that. When it comes to podcasts, I create a structure, and I used to be like so strict on it, if go question, and I'd be stressed if I missed something and always looking at it. Now I have a structure, and I've looked at it a couple of times, but naturally we actually went through everything anyway. So I was like, okay, didn't really need it. Just go with the flow. So yeah, it's a great balance to have, and don't get so caught up in your own way, as we've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, that's where the attachment is, seeing where the attachment is of trying to think you know better, because we don't. You can I'd love to meet the person that knows better. There's a power out there that's bigger than all of us that you can give. Surrender and trust. They're the two big things that come through. Let them play it out. As long as I move with good intention, come from a place of love, much as I can, with pure intent, then everything else will just play out. But yeah, like you said, beautiful to have structure. Like it's fucking good to have, that's even with business. Of course we're going to have structure, but I'm accepting of the ebbs and flows that come with it. So yeah, we just dropped in today, flow state, and the universe took control of the rest, I guess.
I wanted to ask you, Matt, what do you want out of this lifetime?
To be present as much as I can in every, and I know that may sound cliche, but it's fucking peaceful. It's peaceful to, and obviously help people heal, But by helping people, the only way I can do that is by helping myself. You know, we can't help people. All I can do is go through as much as I can go through for myself, which in turn will help people. Like you said, if you can go through it, anyone can get. So I'm just forever coming back to me, like even with all my coaching clients, what I'm teaching them is my experiences. But by me telling them how I think they should do things is trying to control that. You know, so I just teach them what I know and what I've been through and put it all on the table, which gives them the opportunity to teach who they are and see who they are. So yeah, it's just to live a fulfilling life. 30 and to have a spiritual awakening, so like at this age, is beautiful. Very grateful. Every day I put my feet on the ground, I just look up and I just take a big deep breath and I'm like, I'm so fucking go through the day, you know, accept the bullshit that I go through, love the high moments, accept the curveballs, you know, be present as much as I can. And yeah, whatever's planned for me is planned for me. My biggest fear is if I die and I didn't fulfill what I was supposed to fulfill. I don't want to be on my deathbed looking back going, fuck, caught up in a thought about this thing for 60, 70, 80 years. Now you get to the end of your life and it was all an illusion. You know, that, how much energy would people burn by going, you know, you fast track to the last day the last day of your life, and you reflect on everything you've been through and you're looking back on, fuck, how much energy did I burn in thoughts about other people's thoughts? Look at me now. You know, now you want to come to the present. It's like, how about you don't do that? To not have that is by seeing what it is now that's keeping you out of the present, you know? And yeah, presence, like I have days now that feel like I worked this morning, but it felt like 3 days ago, you know, because it's just when you're in presence, the days go so long and it's beautiful. I fucking love it. You know, people are like, I can't wait till the weekend. I just got to get to the weekend. You're being so fucking unpresent now. I've got holidays. When I get to the holidays, I know. It's like, no, you won't.
What about all that time in between though? Like, exactly. What are you doing with your life?
I'm just getting through. Getting through what? The present moment, you know? So that's why, yeah, basically live every day as grateful as I can. You know, I have a beautiful life and it'll continue to grow and spread more love, learn more things about myself, hand it over, get out of my own way.
Matt, we have a closing tradition on the podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest without knowing who it is.
Cool.
So the question for you, and kind of segues what you were speaking about just before, is if tomorrow was your last day on earth, what would be your proudest moment?
Probably being a dad. Yeah, that was cool. I look back now and every day I look at it like, I'm so grateful that you picked me to be a dad. You know, probably be a dad, 100%. The fact that, you know, I've done what I've done in my lifetime, they could possibly, you know, learn to be 10 steps ahead of me. I can't imagine what my girls are going to do in their lifetime. To me, I'm like, you know, so yeah, being a dad, 100%.
I can connect to that. Like, this is just bringing emotion to me. Like, my biggest achievement is being a dad as well. I just, to be able to bring a little human being into this world and nourish them, and wow, they teach you so much. It's such a massive blessing to be a parent, because so many people don't get to be parents.
And I think that's one thing we can both take away from this conversation, of any time that we're caught up in the dark tunnel, the thoughts, the what ifs, the shoulds, the shouldn'ts, this, that. Come back, look at your daughter in that moment and go, this is it. This is all I need. It is. It's all I need. For me, every day I get home, it's like a little party. 2 girls are running amok. Janae's in the house. We're all just doing our thing. That's it. That's all I need. My home. That's my home. When I talk about this, they're there with me. Everything else can just be what it is. Business goes up and down. Money goes left and right. Curveballs come left, right, and center. Do I have that? Am I present with that? Do I love that? Am I appreciative of that? Do I accept that? Yes. That's all I need. Everything else can happen. Because I know there's so many people out there that have kids that are clouded in thoughts. They get home and there's all these thoughts in front of them, and their kids, all they want is your attention. That's literally all kids want. They don't care about anything else. Money, toys, fucking success, followers on fucking Instagram. They don't give a fuck. They just want presence. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's just attention. Have as much attention at home as possible. That was a good question. Do I have to leave a question now?
Yeah, we'll do that after.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I can't say it.
As we wrap up, like today's been such a beautiful, insightful conversation. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for turning up with an open mind, to be real, to be raw, to drop into this conversation. Where can the people find you, connect with you? You know, you mentioned you do coaching, so if someone's interested in coming on board and doing something like that, where's the best place to connect with Matt?
Yeah, on my Instagram's Gamble132. My life coaching Instagram's Love What Is. The name wrapped around that was, you know, teaching people that it just is. You know, we like to label things as good or bad, happy or sad, and you know, black and white. But there's a place within us which it just is. You know, that's peace. Just is, you know. That's the acceptance, and that's where love is as well. That's why I call it Love What Is. So that's my 10-week life coaching program. You know, I've been doing life coaching for a bit now, and fuck, the awakenings people have had. At the start of their programs, I'm like, I don't know what you're going to get from this, but I know the universe will throw things from the sky and we'll go through them. And literally that's what happens. Like the mind tries to go, what are you trying to say? That sounds weird. But then there's a feeling that comes with it when people jump on the program. They're just like, fuck me dead. I had this guy only the other day turn around and say, what have you done for me? Like, changed my whole life, but I don't actually know what you've done. And he's like trying to work it out because his mate asked him, like, he was telling his mate all this stuff, and his mate actually said the question, well, what has he done? And he's like, I don't even know. So he came to me with that question. He goes, I'm not being rude, but like, what have you done for me? And he's like, because my mate asked me and I don't know. Nothing's changed externally. Life is still the same. I said, all I've done is shown you who I am on a deeper layer, which in turn has shown you who you are on a deeper layer. And he just goes, that's exactly right. So that's the way the mind can work out what I've done. I just drop into presence, whoever I'm with. I just sit there and like a podcast, fucking drop in. So yeah, Love What Is. Yeah, so we got our Master Mindset podcast. I've got the Matt Gamble podcast, and yeah, through Instagram, and obviously through the G3 Fitnesses as well. So yes, thank you, brother. Thank you for this conversation. It was beautiful. It was nice. Yeah.
That's a wrap, man. Thank you, bro.
Always, bro.